Hey guys, tonight we slip into the soot-stained boots of someone you probably wouldn't want to be. A resident of a Victorian slum. Imagine the dawn not as a golden glow over tidy cobblestones, but as a sluggish gray mist pressing against cracked windows, carrying with it the heavy smell of coal smoke, horse dung, and yesterday's frying fat. Your bed creaks beneath you. Well, your bed is generous. It's a straw mattress damp with last night's condensation, crammed into a corner of a single room you share with half a dozen other souls. A child coughs in the dark, and the sound rattles as though his lungs are trying to escape. You pull your threadbare shawl tighter. Spoiler alert, you probably won't survive this for long. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And while you're here, tell me in the comments where you're listening from and what time it is right now for you. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You rise, joints aching though you're barely 20, and shuffle across uneven boards. They sag under your weight, groaning like they might just give up. Outside the door, the hallway reeks of damp wood and boiled cabbage. You descend stairs that double as an indoor slip-and-slide whenever it rains. Down below, a woman argues with her landlord over rent. Well, shouts is the better word, and he's already halfway down the street pretending not to hear. The alley greets you with the racket of costermongers already hollering their goods. Hot eels! Fresh-baked taters! Steam rises from their carts, mixing with the fog so thick you could spread it on toast. The whole rookery feels alive, a beehive made of bricks and despair. Historians still argue whether the term rookery came from the birds nesting overhead or from the sheer density of humanity crammed into one block like sardines. Either way, you're the sardine. Walking down the lane, your boots splash into puddles that might be water, but judging by the smell, probably aren't. Children dart past with bare feet, their laughter sharp and shrill, like survival disguised as a game. One boy waves a dead rat by the tail as if it's a trophy. Another tries to sell you a handful of matches, promising they're almost dry. Quirky fact: some Victorian slum kids actually made pets out of rats, teaching them little tricks because when life offers you vermin, you might as well train them for entertainment. You keep moving, brushing shoulders with chimney sweeps blackened, head to toe, their tiny bodies barely large enough to carry the brushes. One looks up at you, his eyes ghost pale from soot, and for a moment you wonder if anyone sees him as a child, or just as another tool shoved up a flue. The air grows hotter, near a row of tanneries where vats of urine, yes, urine, bubble and fester used to soften leather. If you thought your nose had adjusted earlier, congratulations. You were wrong. Food? That's another game of chance. A baker nearby sells bread patted with chalk to stretch the flour. A milkmaid dilutes her pail with so much water it could double as pond scum. Yet you buy anyway because hunger argues louder than suspicion. Mainstream historians note that food adulteration was so common, the government eventually passed the first food safety laws in the mid-19th century, though for you right now, that's just trivia while you chew suspicious crust. Around the corner, a pub already spills over with men, night shift dockers just finishing, day laborers just starting, and a few who seem to live permanently against its sticky counter. You peek inside for warmth. The smell of gin slaps you in the face, sharp and sweet, and you almost laugh. If medicine tastes this bad, maybe that explains why everyone drinks it like water. As the sun drags higher, smoke thickens, curling down, the street like a living creature. The sound of hooves beats steady against cobblestones, hansom cabs rattling toward richer districts. For a fleeting second, you imagine what it might be like to be inside, shielded from the cold, carried somewhere. That doesn't smell of sewage and sweat. Then a cab wheel splashes a streak of brown water across your skirt, and daydreaming feels like a cruel joke. Back in the rookery, your neighbor leans out a window, hurling insults at another woman. Their shouting duel escalates into pots of slop, flying down into the street, narrowly missing a passing constable. The law here doesn't really bother unless someone's dead, or unless you insult the Queen, which, let's be honest, happens more than they admit. You edge down a side lane, where the ground dips lower and the stench intensifies. Here, cesspools sit uncovered, waiting for the night soil men who may or may not come. One fact: during cholera outbreaks, entire families in these alleys perished in days, and no one had answers. Scholars still debate whether people genuinely believed the miasma theory, that disease floated in bad air, or if that was just a convenient excuse before germ theory finally stuck. Either way, as you breathe in the sour fog, you're part of the grand experiment. Your stomach growls again, and you glance back at the costermongers. A roasted potato wrapped in paper steams invitingly. You spend your last coin and hold it, close. Fingers thawing in its heat. The skin peels back with a hiss, revealing soft white inside, your luxury for the day. A boy stares at you hungrily, and without thinking, you break it in half. He scampers away, grinning, and for a moment, the rookery feels less like a cage. The day stretches ahead, heavy with grime and noise, but this first hour, the damp mattress, the fog, the shouting, the potato, is the rhythm you live by. And as bleak as it is, you already know, tomorrow will start the same way. You clutch your half-empty stomach and head into the grind of the day, because even in the slum, the world won't wait. The streets hum with the shuffle of bodies chasing scraps of work. If you're lucky, you'll snag a day's wages. If not, you'll pace these alleys until dark, hoping for miracles that never come. Your first stop is the docks. Dozens of men jostle around the foreman, each thrusting forward eager hands. He scans the crowd, selects a few, and waves the rest away. You're one of the unlucky majority, again. A man beside you mutters that it's all fixed, that bribes grease the foreman's choices. You shrug. Complaining won't fill your belly, and besides, he's probably right. Historians still argue whether casual dock labor kept men trapped in poverty or if it offered just enough flexibility to survive. In your case, flexibility looks suspiciously like hunger. You drift toward a match factory instead, lured by the sour smell of sulfur. Inside, rows of pale young women dip wooden splints into phosphorus paste. Their skin glows with a sickly pallor, teeth rotting until jaws sometimes disintegrate entirely. Phossy jaw, they call it. You step back. The foreman sneers, says he has no need for another mouth to feed, especially not one that might sue when their face caves in. Quirky tidbit. Some match girls used to sing as they worked, high-pitched ditties floating above the fumes because laughter, thin as it was, helped keep despair away. So you move on. Workhouses loom like stone fortresses, promising food and shelter in exchange for your freedom. You hesitate at the door. Inside, families are split apart, uniforms issued, silence demanded. The very thought makes you recoil. Better to starve. On your own terms than be fed like a prisoner. You turn away even though part of you wonders if pride is worth the ache in your belly. By midday, your shoes slap against mud hardened with straw and horse droppings. You stumble upon a coster's cart. Cheap oranges piled high, bright against the gray street. You ask for work and end up hauling crates. The coster pays you in fruit, not coin, but you take it anyway. You peel one orange slowly, juice dribbling, down your chin, its tartness shocking your tongue awake. For a moment, life tastes like sunshine. Then you remember, sunshine doesn't pay rent. The city itself is a workplace, too. Some men carry night soil buckets, trudging door to door, hauling away human waste for pennies. Others collect bones, rags, or scraps of metal, hoping to sell to dealers who'll squeeze profit from rot. You try your hand at sweeping crossings for tips. It's thankless. Carriages rush by, splashing filth, and most passengers ignore you. One well-dressed lady finally tosses a farthing your way, her gloved hand dainty as though touching the coin to her skin might soil her. You pocket it anyway. Pride doesn't buy supper. As shadows lengthen, you pass through a street where tanners soak hides in vats of lime and dog dung. The stench is apocalyptic, but the men inside laugh. Arms elbow deep, their lungs already ruined. Work here might keep you busy, but probably shorten your life. Still, shorter life with bread beats longer life with hunger. That's the calculus. And yet, there's a hustle in the air. Children sell bootlaces, women hawk flowers wilting before dusk, old men patch umbrellas with threadbare fingers. Everyone hustles, everyone schemes. One friend brags about renting out his corner of floor space for 4 pence a night, standing room only. Yes, you heard that right. People literally paid to sleep upright, shoulder to shoulder, like horses in a stable. Historians still debate whether this penny sit-up lodging was a real solution or just another cruelty disguised as charity. All you know is your bed at home, damp as it is, suddenly seems luxurious. On your way back, a commotion breaks out. A boy has lifted a loaf from the baker's cart, and now he's sprinting like the devil's behind him. The constable gives chase, truncheon raised. People cheer, some jeer, but no one intervenes. Theft here isn't crime, it's survival, and most secretly, root for the thief. You watch the boy vanish into an alley too narrow for the constable. Bread clutched like treasure. A small victory, maybe. Evening draws in. The fog thickens until the gas lamps glow like ghostly moons. You're tired, but work, or the search for it, never really ends. You sit by the curb, massaging your blistered feet. Somewhere nearby, a barrel organ plays a jaunty tune, its cheer a sharp contrast to the ache in your bones. Here's your last joke of the day. As you sit, a pig trots past wearing a stolen bonnet, chased by 2 shrieking women. You can't help but laugh, the absurdity brightening the gloom for a heartbeat. Because in this place, humor isn't luxury. It's armor. Night closes in, and tomorrow will demand the same hustle. But for now, you limp home, your orange rind, clutch like proof you've made it through another round of survival. By the time the lamps flicker on, the rookery has transformed. The morning's chaos of hawkers and grime now gives way to a darker rhythm, a pulsing undercurrent of survival dressed up in drink, whispers, and shadow. You shuffle down the lane, boots scuffing cobblestones slick with evening drizzle. Your body exhausted, but your mind wide awake. The gin shop is the first beacon you pass. Its windows glow with yellow light, silhouettes inside swaying, laughing, or slumping. You push the door open. Heat and fumes envelop you like a punch. The air is thick with juniper and sweat. The wooden counter sticky beneath your fingers. A penny buys you a glass of gin, watered down until it tastes like medicine's meaner cousin. Men toast to victories they'll never win. Women, with rouge smudged, cheeks cackle, and somewhere in the corner, someone strums a fiddle with more passion than skill. Quirky tidbit. Gin shops were sometimes nicknamed palaces, though yours looks more like a broom closet. Still, after a day of hunger and rejection, one sip burns like liquid courage. You slip out before your head gets too heavy. The night. Air cuts colder now, fog curling through alleys like ghosts searching for company. You pass a lodging house, its door ajar. Inside, men and women sprawl across benches, hammocks, or just bare boards. For a penny, you could sit upright all night. For 2, you might snag half a bed. You hesitate, watching a child curl on the floor, using his father's boot as a pillow. Historians still argue whether these lodging houses were a mercy for the destitute or a trap that kept people in endless cycles of debt. You just know the air inside smells worse than outside, and you're not keen to share space with lice tonight. Further on, you stumble into a back street where shadows linger too long. A woman sidles up, her dress torn but her eyes sharp, offering company you can't afford. Behind her, 2 men lurk in the dark, watching like hawks. You quicken your pace. In this part of town, temptation always comes with teeth. The sound of hooves clatters nearby, patrol watchmen making their rounds. Their lanterns sweep over walls plastered with broadsheets promising cheap cures for everything from baldness to heartbreak. One advert boldly claims to sell pills that restore virility with immediate vigor. You smirk. If those actually worked, half the men in this slum wouldn't be slumped over gin counters. A watchman's eyes catch yours, narrowing, and you duck into a side alley before questions start. The alley is narrow, damp, and alive with rats. You step carefully, each stone slick beneath your soles. At the far end, you glimpse a boy hunched over, chalking a game onto the ground. He looks up, eyes shining, and gestures for you to join. For a moment, you crouch beside him, drawing lines. In the dim lamplight, pretending the world is nothing more than hops and chalk marks. It's fragile, fleeting, but it's peace. The night deepens. You follow the hum of voices to another pub, this one livelier. Inside, the crowd roars with laughter as a man retells a story about a thief who disguised himself as a priest only to be caught because he blessed a loaf of bread before running off with it. Everyone howls, ale spilling, and for once, laughter. Feels infectious rather than forced. You lean back against the wall, letting the sound wash over you. For a heartbeat, the slum feels less like a cage and more like a community bound by shared struggle. But the illusion doesn't last. Outside, a body lies slumped near a doorway, motionless. A small circle of people glance, mutter, then keep walking. Death here is as common as rain. Grief is a luxury reserved for those who can afford time off from survival. You avert your eyes and carry on. Somewhere in the distance, church bells toll. You follow the sound, not out of piety, but curiosity. The churchyard is half empty, save for a priest locking the gate and a cluster of women gossiping under the lamplight. They whisper about reformers visiting tomorrow, promising clean water and schooling. You wonder whether change ever trickles this far down, or whether hope is just another opiate, weaker than gin but longer lasting. By now, fatigue claws at your body. Your stomach gnaws, your head swims, and the cold gnaws through every layer. You trudge home through alleys where cats fight over scraps, where a beggar sings for coins in a voice so haunting you almost forget he's singing for supper. At last, you reach your lodging. Inside, the room is no warmer than outside, but it is at least familiar. You collapse onto the straw mattress, pulling the threadbare blanket tight. Children still cough in the corner, water still drips through cracks in the ceiling, and somewhere, below, rats scurry. Yet despite it all, you close your eyes, grateful simply to have survived another day. The slum exhales, settling into uneasy sleep. Tomorrow will bring more of the same: fog, filth, hunger, and hustle. But for now, the city rests, and so do you. And now, as the story quiets, let's let the pace soften too. You've walked the narrow alleys, breathed the smoky air, and felt the endless push and pull of survival in those cramped, crooked streets. But tonight, you don't need to chase, dock work, or barter for potatoes. You can simply drift. Imagine the fog rolling back, thinning until it's only a soft mist curling gently at your feet. The clatter of carts, the shouting of costermongers, the cough of children, all of it fades into the distance, like a theater curtain lowering at the end of a play. What lingers is only stillness. Your body, weary from trudging those cobbled paths, now feels light, almost weightless. The straw mattress beneath you, once damp and cold, becomes instead a cloud, lifting you effortlessly. Each breath you take grows slower, deeper, easier, as if the air itself has been scrubbed clean of smoke and coal. Let your shoulders loosen. Let your jaw unclench. Even the echoes of laughter and sorrow from the gin shops and lodging houses dissolve into a calm hush. You are left with silence, broken only by the faint hum of your own heartbeat, steady, patient, comforting. And in this silence there is no hunger, no fear, no chase for tomorrow's bread. Only rest, only peace. The city sleeps, and so do you. So let your eyes grow heavy, let your thoughts soften like fading lantern light. The story has ended, but its echoes will lull you deeper into stillness. Tonight, you are safe. Tonight, you are free to let go. Good night, and sweet dreams.